what's up, Big Earl? Northtownsound. How's it going, everyone? 2 videos? So close together? What's going on? Basically, I have to work on a guitar I was going to talk about, so I'm going to talk about it. And I was going through analytics on YouTube, which I never do, because, like I said, I don't give a shit about this social media crap. I've passed 1 million views. Thanks. Respect. I know most of that's like watching the effects videos and stuff like that, but still, respect. Thanks a lot for that. I'm going to talk about a guitar I wanted to talk about for quite a while. This is Flasher. This is a 1970s Epiphone Wilshire from Japan. And the acquisition of this guitar is one of the funniest stories out of any of my axes. 8-10 years ago, I'm on Kijiji. There's an ad. A guy selling an Epiphone for $80. Bing, 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 bing. Right up my alley, right? He posts a photo of this guitar. Literally, I think he took it with a mid-90s digital camera. It's like 240 by 120 resolution. It's so pixelated, it's unbelievable. It looks like the pickguard is orange. I'm just like, dude, I gotta check this out. He lives like 8 blocks away from me, so I'm like, what the hell? I head over there, okay. He's this crazy old Ukrainian guy. Okay, and before any ukes get on my case, okay, I'm in Edmonton, Canada. Okay, this is the second largest city of the Ukraine. Okay, tens of thousands of ukes in Western Canada, all escaping all the crap they had to put up with 100 years ago, right? You know that totally insane uncle that you Ukrainian people have? It's this guy. What do you want? What do you want to buy? Huh? What do you want to buy? Huh? I head over there. This should be a 5-minute transaction. It takes 45 minutes, right? He keeps trying to sell me these models. He makes these models of logging trucks. That one there, I took the branches from the great big tree over there and I cut them down and I put it's really good, $20. I'm like, dude, I just want the guitar. And then he's like, then he doesn't want to sell it to me, right? It's like, what do you want? You gotta sell for more than me? I'm like, well, no. And I give him this line about, my church group fixes up these guitars and we give them to the needy. People buy that line of shit. I don't know why. So finally, he begrudgingly sells it to me. He was like, $80, a good deal, huh? He didn't try to raise it up. Just $80, a good deal, huh? So I buy it. I get it home. And then I see exactly what I'm putting up with. So as you can tell, they spray bombed it blue at some point, and they did a really shitty job, and they did a crap job of sanding it, as you can tell. The guy who had it before me, I'm assuming, threw on all these weird little 3D stickers. Personally, that one of the moon and the stars, I just love. So I wasn't creating any sound. The pickups definitely were exhibiting coil rot. What's coil rot? When you have old cheap guitars like this, people don't look after them. They get thrown into the garage, they get thrown into the attic, thrown into the basement, place where there's humidity. And humidity will go for the windings on the pickups. So the original bridge pickup was intermittent. This one, which you can see is banged to shit too, was completely dead. Which is annoying because these humbuckers are actually bigger than normal, which is really weird. So I decided to look at the electronics, took the guard off. There was rust everywhere. So this was stored in a really humid place. When I went to remove the knobs, I actually snapped the shafts off of a couple of the potentiometers. Originally, I had wired this to be 2 humbuckers. These came from the factory volume tone, output volume tone, which is so cool, it's unbelievable. Then I discovered I never used the neck pickup. I tried using a different guard, different wiring, kind of screwed that up. So I just threw on the original one. This is an old Washburn humbucker that's on here. Single volume and out. I kept dropping my pick into the neck pocket, so I threw the neck pickup back in. It's not hooked up, won't be hooked up because it doesn't make any sound. Almost forgot, just in case I need to remember the tuning, Buddy did this. EAD, what the hell kind of Sonic Youth shit is this? The thing that I love the most, it's like medical tape. That's so awesome. I couldn't get a strap on, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I realized what they were using for the strap button on it. So they took a screw, they actually busted off the end, and they put it on a hazard light knob from like a Dodge Maverick from the 70s or something like that. And I kept it because that is so cool. So obviously this guitar is Flasher. How Canadian can you get I threw in a bunch of Robertsons on this. So I have some proper screws right now, so I'm going to fix that. Oh, look. It says made in Japan on the neck plate. This must have been made at the legendary Makasudo factory or Motosudo or fuck off. It was built somewhere. Who knows? So, oh, there's the last time I restrung it. June of 2014. It's currently July of 2020. That tells you everything about me. These are WD tuners, and they bite. They just blow, and they've always blown on me. Guitar won't stay in tune. I actually snapped that grommet installing this. And I completely brain farted that I had bought some shallers for another project that I'm not going to do now. Old NOS shallers. So I'm going to throw those on here. Let's start with one discussion. I have all these guitars. Why do I keep this one around? Number one, how do you deal with a guitar that's messed up like this? Number two, how do you justify buying a messed up guitar when you already own so many damn guitars that it's ridiculous? Number three, not only how do you justify owning yet another guitar, but how do you utilize it and how do you make it important? And number four, how do you create your sound and how does gear help you create your sound? So this is my chainsaw guitar. So anytime that I want to do the Johnny Ramones thing for like rhythm work, this is the guitar I grab. It just works perfectly well. That's why we got one hot humbucker and a volume. I don't need anything else on this. My buddy Dwayne got a hold of me, needs me to do some more sound tracking for him, and he invoked Reagan Youth. So I got to go into hardcore mode, so I figure, yeah, I better get this thing going because I'm going to have to do a bunch of stuff. He also just made me, like 2 hours ago, I just finished recording some drums for what he wants. I had to do disco drums. I'm really confused at this point in my life, so. You haven't changed the strings in 6 years? You must never play this thing, dude. Well, that's how dirty the fretboard was. To go along with that thin neck, you will notice it is effectively a fretless wonder, to the point where there's not a lot to dress, a couple little dings, but I don't use this for soloing, so it doesn't matter. The buzz doesn't work. You'll hear what I use this for. So, but yeah, even though the string's been on it forever, this thing gets used. It just gets abused. So changed all those screws to Phillips, so at least they're countersunk now. Moved the pot over. I think I was just having it there for convenience. Time to put the knob back on, and yes, that's one of the original knobs. Yes, I am one of those sorts of people. But it just keeps flying off, so I'm going to have to put it on better. And easiest way of doing that, believe it or not, is tack for doing posters and stuff. So you put some of that putty on. It seems to stick to metal pretty good. This was a neat trick that somebody showed me years ago. Now it's just trying to get the knurls right on this thing one-handed. Yikes. There we go. Cool. Let's say you have a guitar that's been spray painted. What do? It's obviously destroyed. You're going to have to sand it all down and start again from scratch, right? Wrong. If they put enough coats on, which they usually do, because, a rattle can will do more than one coat on a guitar, you got a finish that you can work with. So I just got some 800 damp paper here. And I'm just doing this roughly one-handed, but I'm not sanding through it. It takes a lot to sand through this, so you can just sand it and smooth it down even more. I had this at about 400. I'm going to take this. I got a little bit of 1200 there, so we're going to go for that. You're just kiss sanding a little bit off, right? No, I don't need to strip this right down. There's really no point in putting in all that work. This is a tool, and sometimes guitars need to be tools. So, sanded off, washed it, a little bit of alcohol. Just spent a couple of minutes just rubbing it with just a cloth. And then I'll hit it with a microfiber cloth and keep rubbing it for like 5-10 minutes and it'll turn to glass, basically. You see how much it's shining now? Did I have to strip it all down? No. Does it look perfect? Nah, it's a little mottled in places, but look at this thing, right? In the old days, you would do that with, instead of microfiber cloths, you'd do that with newspaper. Works really well, actually. Not pretty, but they're on. Okay, I guess moment of truth. Time to string her up. Stay in tune. I remember trying these before. I think I liked them. They were on sale, so I'm like, what the heck? Let's try it. The only problem is, not through 42. This had 10 through 46s on it. I got a bunch of other strings here. They're all lights or ultralights. So I guess we're going to have to do a little bit more setup. I needed to release the truss rod just a little bit more. That's probably all she's going to do now. This is borderline too light of strings for this. It's one of those things where your string tension on a neck will physically pull your neck back. And sometimes that gives you the relief you need. Super fast neck, but useless for me for soloing. Soloing, I need something chunkier. This thing's so thin. See that? Like, I can't get a grip. I can't do wizard necks and stuff like that. And I've played a couple of these, the original unmolested ones, and they're like this. So this is a tool. And that's the problem. People who think that guitars are things that need to be pristine and immaculate and play perfectly and blah, 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 they're the tools. It's more important to have something that plays, something that draws inspiration, and something that makes you want to go for it than it is to have something immaculate and beautiful and blah, blah, blah. You know, would you want to have like a fancy, expensive sports car and use it to drive to buy macaroni and cheese at the corner store? No. So, the new notes, so I know in 6 years to change the strings again. Up against the wall with flasher. Sound chain. 90% of the time when I'm recording this thing, I use the same chain, which is my beloved old Smoky. I am so happy to state that Smoky amplification is still in business. Go spend $50. These things are brilliant. So if you've never played with one, basically it's a 2-inch speaker powered by a 9-volt battery, but you can drive an external speaker with it. And they sound really crunchy and really fun. I prefer to pair that up with the woofer in this Fender Sidekick bass amp, which sucks. It's the 80s all over again. You know those 80s bass amps where with sweepable mid where you can never find a mid that's usable? It's one of those. But it's a really great sounding cabinet with a really good 15 that creates an interesting mid-range scoop. That combination gives me this chainsaw sound that I'm really, really fond of. That's something that works as like a complete wall of sound in a mix. I know some fucking blues lawyers are listening to this going, dude, that sounds like shit. Yeah, well, it's not for playing your fucking Joe Bonomo fucking jack-off riffs. It's for doing chainsaw rhythm, right? If you roll back the volume a bit, you get this sort of, it's almost like the Joe Strummer Telecaster tone, which is also really good for doing choppier things, right? So if you put a lead guitar over that, you're not actually fighting tonally with it. Pretty well anything that you put around that is going to work. This is just going to fill the same way like a ride cymbal would, right? So again, Dwayne was invoking Reagan Youth there, and he was saying like Degenerated was the song that he was quoting on. So that would be... I would have killed for that sound when I was like 19, man. And a hardcore kid. It's exactly what I want. It's exactly what I need. And it's exactly what I use this with. Sometimes it's a different speaker. I've tried other amps with this thing. And like I said, because of the neck, I don't really like... I'm not really fond of playing it like that. This is just for doing the whole sort of... and it excels at it. You dug that video, you learned something, like, subscribe, share, yada yada. You know the drill. Still not posting that much. Anything interesting comes up, I'll let you all know, right? Anyways, thanks a lot for watching this. I still don't know why you people watch this stuff, but respect. Okay? A lot of respect, sincerely. Big Earl, Northtown Sound. Later.